Let's get this done kind of fast because it's getting dark. Let's learn some stuff about Acadia while I walk the Ocean Path, one of the most popular trails in Acadia, and see some of the other popular sites. Acadia is one of the smallest national parks that the U.S. has, but it's also one of the top 10 visited. So you'll meet a lot of friends from a lot of different places there.
Oh. Yeah. You can tell that was a good one to see the little bit of movement.
A dude named Samuel Champlain was the first to document discovering Mount Desert Island. Samuel Champlain referred to it as the island of barren mountains, which kind of makes sense because once you get to the peaks of the mountains, it is like less vegetation, just more bald. So this Champlain character has a couple of things, or a lot of things named after him in Acadia. But the tallest peak is Cadillac Mountain, and not only is that the tallest peak in Acadia, but it is the tallest peak on the whole entire Atlantic east coast of America. From October to February, if you are on the peak of Cadillac Mountain, you are the first one who will see the sunrise in the entirety of the U.S. Acadia is the first national park to be established east of the Mississippi River, and it's also the only national park in the Northeast. So I said that Champlain was the first to document discovering Mount Desert Island in Acadia, but the Wabanaki, a Native American tribe, have been there for at least 12,000 years. So they'd hunt and gather on the land and collect clams from the shoreline. Nowadays, though, they have their own reservation in Maine. The beginnings of Acadia can be traced back 500 million years ago. Yeah. Sand, mud, and volcanic ash piled on top of each other. Then the forces from the earth heated it, and it turned into a certain metamorphic rock, tough stuff. The earth's plates shifting, and due to erosion, this rock created underneath the ocean was brought up to the surface, and that is the base from which Mount Desert Island was created. All of this to say, it's hard for flora, meaning like vegetation, to grow here because the soil only goes down so deep before you hit bedrock, basically. Even though that is true, the nature still persists, as it always does. It's extra cool in a way because you're walking through like the forest biome of Acadia. Why does this feel more enchanted and more like fantasy forest than I've ever experienced before? And it was because the roots are all exposed. They're mossy roots tangling over each other, cascading down these mountains, and it's probably because the soil's shallow. Acadia has two types of forests represented. They have the northern boreal forest combined with the eastern deciduous forest, which makes sense because Maine is like the epitome of Northeast America. It's the most northeast you can get. The eastern deciduous brings maples, hardwoods, oaks. The northern boreal outfits Acadia with spruces and firs. Even though these forests learned to flourish despite like the poor soil and ground conditions, it also faced entire destruction in 1947. 1947 meant World War II had just ended, so people were still kind of like recuperating from that. And Maine had also seen one of its driest summers ever recorded. They had 50% less rainfall than normal. The fire department gets a call from one Mrs. Gilbert. She's like, "There's smoke rising from this cranberry bog." No one knows why it was started. It could be anything from a stupid reason to a stupider reason. It wasn't too bad the first couple days that it was burning, but then I think October brought like hurricane force winds, which turned it into a firestorm. Hundreds of people were evacuated from the shoreline. I know for sure 3 people died. Roughly half of Mount Desert Island was destroyed. Fire is a part of nature, and nature knows how to grow back even stronger from that. It did change the biome a little bit. Like birches and aspens started growing back in place of the grand spruces and firs. Yeah, it's a little crispy on Mount Desert Island, but gorgeous nonetheless. Another thing that totally shaped the land, glaciers. Thick sheets of ice caused the striations in the rock that a lot of people think of when they think of the shores of Acadia. glaciers, specifically the Wisconsin ice sheet they call it, shaped Jordan Pond, which is one of the most like popular water destinations within Acadia. That pond is or has been recorded at most at 61 feet deep. That's the deepest recorded body of water in all of Maine so far. If you like these videos, would you like some more? If you do, I could use your help. I don't want to ask too much of you, so what about just like one coffee? I would appreciate just the $5, huge difference. Plus, it makes me feel really warm and fuzzy inside. And if you can't help monetarily, just leave a comment. The comments make it so worth it because then when I'm making these videos, it feels like I'm not just talking to myself like a crazy fucking idiot. Join me next week in Portland, Maine with a very special guest. Yeah, join Elise and I